वॉच माय नेक्स्ट वीडियो। जी स्टूडेंट्स, आज लेक्चर नंबर 1 मैं जो है स्टार्ट करने जा रहा हूँ एम इंग्लिश का। एम इंग्लिश की तरफ हम मूव कर रहे हैं आहिस्ता आहिस्ता। और एम इंग्लिश का सबसे पहले आई वुड लाइक टू टेल यू अबाउट द नॉवल। The novel name is Pride and Prejudice. It is our first lecture and the first lecture based on 18th century novel as well. You know that there are 5 papers in MA English Part 1 and 5 paper MA English Part 2 as a private candidate. So in that 5 papers I would have selected the third one, novel as well. In novel today we have a novel Pride and Prejudice and written by Jane Austen. As you know that Jane Austen was born in 18 July 1775 and died in 16 December I think so 1817 as well. No doubt she was a rebel, she was a radical woman, and she was also feminist as well. As we have seen in her famous novel Pride and Prejudice, what she did so for the women's rights as well. At that time or up till 1870, women's have no rights in their property as well, and all their property belong to their husbands as well. So in that perspective, Jane Austen was a bold woman that she wrote for the emancipation of women as well. So let's begin with Jane Austen's as well. And Jane Austen's plot moves towards often explore or expose the dependence of women on marriage in the pursuit of favorable social standing and economic security as well. In the novel, women considered as a rightful property for their husbands as well. तो rightful property का word use किया हुआ है। और on the other hand, Pride and Prejudice also based on a major theme of Pride and Prejudice is money and marriage. Later on we will discuss about themes and summary as well. At the very start I would also discuss here, I want to discuss here the opening line of the text as well. The famous opening line in the word, it is truth, universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of wife. यह अफाकी सच्चाई है कि इंसान जब इस काबिल हो जाता है तो उसके पास अगर पैसे हैं और उसकी अच्छी किस्मत है तो उसको शादी कर लेनी चाहिए. The novel follows the witty and fascinating relationship between the beautiful Elizabeth Bennet and the proud Mr. Darcy. I would also like to tell you about Pride stand for and Prejudice stand for. In Pride and Prejudice there are two major characters in the novel as well, and the first one is Fitz Darcy, who was also protagonist of our novel as well. And the word pride absolutely for him. When he came into the ball, there was rumors about him. He was a forbidden disagreeable countenance, and the writer used these lines for him. And there was also a rumors that he was tall, handsome, but he was much proudy because he earned 10,000 pounds in a year. So although on the other hand Mr. Bingley was also a charming boy. Anyway, Pride and Prejudice is set in rural England. Rural England की कहानी है in the early 19th century. Now I would like to move first of all towards characters as well. There are Miss Bennet's family, and the whole story revolves around Bennet's family as well. And Bennet's family has had 5 daughters as well. And Mr. Bennet, the head of the family member, he was reserved and capricious, and he was busy all the time to read something, as his philosophical statements captures the all novels as well. And the second one is a foolish woman that his wife, Mrs. Bennet, and she was a woman of mean understanding and less information. This line used Jane Austen's for her. And the third one is, the elder daughter of Bennet's family is Jane. Jane was no doubt, she was an angelic woman, she was an angelic lady. Nobody, has have complained against her. And the second one is Elizabeth, who is, the heroine of this novel as well. And she was, fulfilled the requirements of prejudice as well. She has much prejudice in the novels, as we have seen, in the novel. Another one is the third one, daughter is Mary. She was just like her father as well. She was also a philosophical character. Although Catherine and Mary were not, discussed so far as in the novel as well, but the rest of three ladies. And the last one is Lady Lydia. She was, she was a smart lady, and she elopes with Wickham as well. And she was, she would become a disgrace for the Bennet's family. Anyway, मैं बाकी characters आपको बताता हूँ, तो ये trace करते हैं. Thank you. ये स्टूडेंट्स, अब कैरेक्टर नंबर 8 की तरफ मूव करते हैं. कैरेक्टर नंबर 1 हमारे पास है जी चार्ल्स बिंगले. He was charming and handsome, young boy, and he was inclined towards Jane Bennet as well, and he made a couple for Jane. Carol Bingley, she was a sister of Bingley. Mrs. Hurst, who was a very minor character, and she also Bingley sister-in-law or whatever. Fitz Darcy, the protagonist, a tall, rich, handsome young boy, a forbidden, disagreeable boy, and there was a rumor about him that he, earned 10,000 pounds in a year. He was also a protagonist of the novel, जो हमारे प्राइड पे पूरा उतरता है. He was a rich and proudy man. ठीक है. इसके बाद जॉर्जिया डार्सी, she was a sister of Darcy. Wickham है जी. Wickham के बारे में he eloped with Lydia, right, as well. And the next one is Mr. Collins, who was a stupid, much stupid, frivolous character, absurd character, and he was also, a cousin of Mr. Bennet. And he, proposed first of all Elizabeth, and when she got rejected his proposal as well, and he inclines towards Charlotte Lucas, and Charlotte was at that time 26 years old, and she married with Mr. Collins. Lady Catherine, Charlotte Lucas, a friend of Elizabeth. Lady Catherine the Bob, she was an aunt of Fitzwilliam Darcy, and she was much proudy woman in the novel, and she was also a patron of Mr. Collins. Mr. Gardiner, Mr. Gardiner was a brother of Mrs. Bennet. ये हमारे total characters हैं जी. Now I would like to move our points towards themes and summary as well. These students, now I would like to move towards themes and summary of the novel. First of all, I would like to tell you about the summary. As we all know that it is a romantic novel, no doubt, and Jane Austen gives us a glimpse or vivid picture of this novel, dating on mid 19th century, and the opening lines of the novels. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. This opening line, shows at the very start of the novel, shows that there is someone, who wants to marry. As Mrs. Bennet, she was much depressed, about her daughters as well. On the other hand, her husband, Mr. Bennet, he was, capricious and reserved kind of person, and he was also a sarcastic behavior towards others, and he has no means to, no concentration about her daughters, and especially he was much inclined towards her favorite daughters, Elizabeth, the second one, and the third one is, Mary as well. And Elizabeth is also a heroine of this novel as well. The story, starts in a manner that when there is a rumors that Bingley's family is led to their neighbors as well in Longbourn, and they come in Netherfield Park. Netherfield Park is a place, and in a ball, Mrs. Bennet introduces her all daughters before them, and no doubt when, in a ball, at the very starts of the novel, Mr. Bingley. Mr. Bingley was inclined toward a shy and charming woman, Jane, and she was, elder daughter of Bennet's family, and Mr. Bennet was much happy to watch this as well. On the other hand, if we talk about Elizabeth, and Elizabeth at the start of the novel, she was inclined, and she has much, sympathy for and pity for the hero, protagonist of the novel, Darcy Fitzwilliam Darcy, and Fitzwilliam Darcy was, a rich, proudy, tall man, and there is also rumors about him that he, earned £10,000 in a year, and this makes him much, handsomer than Bingley as well. No doubt, Bingley was much charming than Darcy, and at the start of the novel, when her heart, Elizabeth's heart is full of Darcy, and she, in one of the chapter, he make a statement, or he, make a compliment about Miss, Elizabeth as well, that she was handsome enough, but not enough to tempt me. This makes him, offensive. This makes her offensive as well, and she has prejudice against him. Later on, she was inclined toward, flirty militiaman Wickham as well. Her heart is totally towards Wickham as well, and Wickham and the rest of the other regiments officers always, flirt other women as well. Later on, we also come to know that, Wickham elopes with Lydia as well. Lydia was the fifth daughter, or the youngest daughter of Bennet's family. Although Elizabeth has fears that this makes her family, very disgrace for them. But it is very, very surprisingly, we come to know that when Mrs. Bennet accepted them, abruptly, and she was also a happy woman that her, daughters, at least her daughter, got married as well. And on the other hand, we have also, some characters, and Mr. Collins. When he introduces in the novel, Mr. Collins was inclined towards Elizabeth Bennet as well, and he proposed Elizabeth, and when he got rejected, and his heart is totally towards Charlotte Lucas, and Charlotte Lucas at that time was 26 years old, and she just wants to manage her remaining life as well. She wanted to get married to survive in the society as well. No doubt, Jane Austen's novels always, survives towards society, and as we have seen, the basic point and the basic theme of the novel is money and marriage. If we have money, and then obviously we would have to, select a wife as well, and we have to select, rest of the other things as well. We will be, happy. And the second one is Elizabeth. This is also a ironical situation when in after 13th chapter, or 33 or 32, whatever. In that chapters, Mr. Darcy, when his heart is towards Elizabeth, and she did not like him, and he wanted to get married with Elizabeth, and he proposed Elizabeth, but she got rejected him. Later on in the novel, it is irony that when she got accepted his proposals in 47, 46, whatever, in that chapter as well, and they happily married at the end of the novel. And also we have there is a much proudy woman, Catherine de Bourgh. She was aunt of Mr. Darcy, and patron of Mr. Collins, who was frivolous and absurd character in the novel. And there is also two minor daughters, or minor characters in the novel, Catherine or Cathy and Mary. They have no interest, especially Mary has no interest in Bennet's family. She always reads books, just like her father as well. That her philosophical statements always would become a deist and gazed for others as well. And we if we talk about themes of the novel, before starting theme of the novel, I would like to my concluding lines is about there are three daughters who have been beautifully married by Mrs. Bennet, and she was happy at the end of the novel. It was a happy novel, no doubt. It is a romantic novel, so that's why it was a happy novel. And she was happy that eldest Jane, that the second one is Elizabeth, and the last one, the youngest daughter of the Bennet's family, Lydia. They have she has succeeded at least three daughters married as well. So the novel is beautifully portrayed by Jane Austen, and she depict a beautiful a description of money and marriage. This novel is very beautiful. And when we talk about theme, there are much themes that we discuss in the novel, or later we become we also call them questions as well of for the paper. The first one is money and marriage. It is also implemented on Pride and Prejudice. That is also a title of the novel. Also we have the opening lines of the novel. It is also very famous lines, for it is a famous proverb. And the second one is appearance and reality. Appearance and reality is based on irony and humor. Appearance, what characters appears to be, and what actual they are. As we have seen in the novel, Elizabeth, Darcy, and so and so, and how they mock at, and how they produce themselves to others as well. So students, guys, it is all about prejudice, Pride and Prejudice, and it is beautiful novel, no doubt. And we have completed the first lecture of 18th century novel, and this is also in paper 3 novels, and the first one is Pride and Prejudice. I hope that it is fine for you, and it would become pleased for you. So if you have any question at the end of this lecture, so please put in a comment box, and I will be there. So thank you very much, students.